As a non-plumber, plumbing an entire house, what did I learn? Some pretty basic rules that I think anyone can follow. And I think I can put it into terminology that makes sense. And we also did some framing this week. Just a little bit, but some really exciting framing. If framing can be exciting, this is exciting. Alright, welcome to High Peaks Home. Number one rule about plumbing is that number two, it runs downhill. And with that rule, you're thinking, great, I'll just pitch all my pipes downward. Problem solved. I'm done. Plumbing done. Not true. There's a set of rules you need to follow inside of that number one rule in order to do this correctly. And that is, you want your pipe pitched a 1/4 inch down for every linear foot of travel. So if you have 8 feet of travel, you're going to go down 2 inches. Now that's a simple rule. So the reason for that is that your solids, as they travel, if it's pitched too sharply, what's going to happen is the water is going to escape faster than the solid. And when that happens, your solid will get hung up. And the next thing you know, you got more solids and you got a clogged pipe. And we don't want to have that. So a 1/4 inch down per linear foot, that solves that. Now that's all well and good, but when you're traveling that horizontal plane with that 1/4 inch drop, you have to be concerned about how you turn. You go to your plumbing house and you buy a 90-degree fitting. And you think, all right, perfect, 90-degree fitting, ready to go. Well, it all depends on where are you working. Are you working in the horizontal plane in here, or are you working vertically here? So if you're working vertically, no big deal. Go right ahead, buy a standard 90, and your liquids and solids will come right in, and then they'll shoot right out, no problem. But in a horizontal plane, it definitely makes a difference. You want this transition to be as sweeping as possible. So you buy yourself a long sweep 90. That solves that problem. Now, let's say you want to enter in a pre-existing trunk line and put another branch in. Let me demonstrate that. Now I'm going to use 2 inch because that's the fittings I have. All right, so we'll pretend this is the long radius 90. That's the first branch coming in. And we want to put in another branch here. So we have one branch here. And thinking, all right, well, just grab yourself a T. Put that in. Bring in your branch. All right. All right, so then you have your T in there. You're all set, right? Not quite. Hold on. I'm getting there. What you really need is what's called a Y. Now, this has a branch on it that's 45 degrees versus the hard 90 that's here. This, again, can be used in a vertical position, but not when it's laying down flat. So, you put your Y in, and always make sure you're paying attention to the flow of travel. I've seen these installed backwards. Seen them installed in wrong locations, number one. And then I've also seen them installed like that. So when this water is entering this location, it's going to backflush first and then flow downhill. Not good. So make sure you pay attention to the travel. And on this 45, you add another 45, and now you have that nice long sweep that we just talked about. Just like that. So this is the horizontal orientation. This is correct, this is wrong. Now that I've shown you this rule, the next rule I want to talk about is venting. Now this is where I really hope Frankie doesn't try to teach me a lesson, because it's not 100% clear on how this is supposed to work. I'm sure professionals out there know exactly what's going on, but from all I can understand, the biggest rule you have to follow when it comes to venting is the vent needs to be within 5 feet of any fixture. Now, I couldn't get a clear rule on the size of vent per number of fixtures, so basically I just overvented everything. And yeah, we're just gonna run with it. So let me go and show you what I've done to this point in the house with those two rules in play. And then we'll get to the rest of the rules. There's a wall between you and me. The mudroom finally has all of its walls, and I couldn't be happier, man. It's been a long time coming, and I am stoked that it finally happened. You know, all the siding's out of here, all the timber frame is out of here, and now we have a big open workspace to use, and this wall is up, one step closer to that sheetrock. Speaking of sheetrock, we need to talk about this stud right here. You know, you have to have a plane for the sheetrock to land on. And in order to do that, I had to wait until everything else was framed out. But in the process of that, the spray foam happened. So I had to dig out a bunch of foam. And that drew a bunch of questions in my mind. And
oh, hey man, you are here.
What's going on, Barry?
It's looking good.
You guys all know Barry from Empty Hammock. What brings you by, bud?
Well, I just wanted to come by and remind everybody to like, share, and subscribe.
And thanks for that. Appreciate it.
All right, man. I'll catch you later.
It's good to have friends. Anywho, what were we talking? Oh yeah. So I want to see what the repercussions were of digging all that foam out. So I went ahead and measured it with the old thermal imaging camera. Have a look. All right, so I had to cut that foam out in order to get a stud in so we can have an inside corner for a wall. And it got me thinking, what are the repercussions of what I'm doing when it comes to thermal gain coming through this wall? Because the sun is just blaring down on it. I'm sweating buckets. And it really got me thinking. So I went ahead and attached my little thermal imaging camera to my phone and thought I'd give it a go and see what it looks like. So that stud that we're installing is going right there between those two windows. And you can see the siding is 100 and 110 to 115. All right, so on the inside here, we're at 82 or so in the bay where we pulled the foam out. And where it's full foam, it's 80. Well, not too bad of an issue digging out a bit of foam. The good news is that I did leave the majority of the foam and I didn't break all the way to the exterior. And I went ahead and spray foamed in the gap again. And now I'm gonna go around to the back side of this stud where this one ends about here. There's a bit of a gap in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and fill that up. When applying your foam, make sure that you don't get too trigger happy, as I kind of did. Well, so now that it's sprayed in there, it's going to continue to form inside there and grow and react and fill the cavity and continue to grow out. What I've learned is don't be too anxious on trying to clean that out. You're just going to make a huge mess. Wait till the next day if you can. Wait till it's fully cured and then come back and cut it out. You'll get a better product and a way less mess. So before even starting, I've already screwed up. When I roughed in this for the spray foam, I made an assumption on how the trap should work and how this should be vented, and I was wrong. So I need to have the venting much closer to this location than I originally intended. So now what I have to do is put a trap in here, and then I'm gonna come across, put literally across right here, and then put the drain in this way. I'm gonna run the vent up here and over, tied into the sink location for over here, and then the vent will go up through the top there. At least that's my thought process.
Never break, always fight, never quit, do it right, play the game, win it life, have no shame, there's no time, feel the pain, live the grind, I could change, in my mind, pick a lane, commit and climb, the only way to win it life, I never miss, that's fact, taking big swings, each hand to the bat, put me in the ring, you'll go out in a bag, cause I sing what I mean and I bring it to the mad light, ain't got time to kill, I got time to feel, I took the red pill, I know life's short so I wanna live real, but how's it supposed to feel?
Now we're in the Jack and Jill bathroom. Now this is the easiest place to do the plumbing. There's a bathtub right over here. You have the sink right here. And then the toilet is right behind me. So it's all really close together. So it's easy to get that 5-foot rule in play from the bathtub to the sink, the vent. The sink, obviously, vent. And the toilet is right here, vent. And we're gonna vent the main stack as well. So, and the toilet's not that far from main stack. So this whole area is over vented. I'm 87.2% positive on that. Okay, next space. All right, in primary suite, I have 5 drainage points. Shower, tub, 2 sinks in the vanity that have to be plumbed separately, and the toilet. And let me show you what I've come up with to get it all vented and get it all drained. Now, right behind you is where the tub is gonna enter. So imagine that tub coming in this way. It's gonna pick up the first sink right here. Now, and then that's gonna drain out back. But as the drain comes in, I'm also gonna bring the vent pipe up, bring it all the way across over here, and then that's gonna pick up the second sink. So then that's gonna go in and then drain out, and then that vent pipe's gonna come in, join in with a T because we're in the vertical position and it's a vent. Then way over here is the toilet. And then we're gonna have the vent pipe right here, and that's gonna go all the way up. And then way over there will be the shower. And then the shower will come into the wall just like everything else, and then enter in, and the vent will come across here and tie in to the toilet with one of those cross steels. And that's how we're gonna vent this whole space. I think it'll work. We'll go with the lower number. Go with 79.4% sure that this is gonna work. Yep, not being a plumber definitely has some drawbacks. Now after mocking this up, I decided that I don't like the way I came up with this. So you have glue point, glue point, glue point, entry into a 45 or the Y, and then going down to the main trunk line. Now way out here, I wouldn't have to have a 3-inch, but I thought it'd be a really good idea to have a clean out at the end of this long run, entering into the main stack. But what I want to change is extend this pipe out and put a 45 on, and then I can meet this guy and have this all on top instead of having this kind of snaky deal going on. Yeah, I think that makes more sense. And then over there is where the toilet will join in. Right in here, I'm gonna have to put another Y in because I'm putting in the other sink right here. And that's as far as I got to this point. Now here is the kitchen sink. So that's a 17-foot run from there all the way over there, and then it jogs over and ends there. So previously we installed the 4-inch line through the foundation, and now we're starting to get closer to the point where we're going to need to connect to it. Now I'm not going to connect to it until I am absolutely finished with all the rough-ins. Being a non-plumber, I want to make sure that everything's going to fit. So I'm going to continue down this path of just cutting, setting, and not gluing anything until I have a complete system fully installed, and then I'll go through and dismantle it all and glue it all up and finish install it, and then we can start running fresh water. Pretty exciting. I'm pretty optimistic on getting this thing ready. Anywho, thank you for stopping by High Peaks Home. I'm Sean.